Larger Than Life by Brent Faiyaz. This album came out on the 27th of October 2023. So yesterday, as we are recording this, it is 14 songs, 36 minutes and 20 seconds. You okay for me to round that down to 36 minutes flat?
That's absolutely fine.
Perfect. It is a new project, album, EP. We don't really know what we're calling it yet, by Brent Faiyaz. It is his first under the moniker as an independent artist. So it's really, really interesting. So we're really looking forward to getting into this project. We are two huge Brent Faiyaz fans here. He was nominated for one of our Two Stubborn Nigerians awards last year with his project Wasteland. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, we are the Two Stubborn Nigerians podcast where we do weekly album reviews and provide music recommendations for all things in the world of hip hop, R&B. If you're a fan of this, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can subscribe, like the video, share, ring the bell to get all of our notifications, and you can check us out on all of our socials at 2S Nigerians on Twitter and at 2_stubborn_Nigerians on Instagram and TikTok. But today we are here to do Larger Than Life by Brent. How many listens have you gotten of this album first?
I've got about 3 to 4.
Damn, you just don't have a job, do you? You just be sat at home just listening to music on Fridays. You don't have work, you don't have no commitments.
Usually I come in here and I'll say, yeah, I listen to it once or twice. But this is Brent.
Okay.
I carved out time.
Hey man, I ain't gonna hold you. So I go about two in. So this is going to be a first reaction. This isn't one of our typical album reviews as we like to do, or we typically get a lot more in depth. If you want something like that, you can check out. Did we review Wasteland?
We didn't.
Okay. If you want more like that, you can check out some of our other reviews on the podcast channel, wherever you get your podcast from. I will be perfectly honest with you, Raheem. So, in fact, no, let me start properly. It's a little bit of a surprise album. There were rumblings that this was coming a bit late Wednesday night after some posts were going up. And then Thursday, we got the confirmation that Brent Project was coming. So, last minute. It's also very interesting with the timing because he's currently on tour. He's on the European leg of his Fuck the World tour, or Wasteland tour. I think it's the Wasteland tour. It is Wasteland tour, right? Can't remember if they called it the Fuck the World tour. My bad, people. But yeah, he's currently on the European leg of his Wasteland tour, which is scheduled to finish on the 19th of November. So to be dropping an album mid-tour for a very highly successful album from a year ago is very interesting. Now, I want to be clear. Brent, one of my favorite artists. Right, one of my favorite artists. When he dropped his tour tickets for the UK this year, they sold out instantaneously. Even as someone who has O2 priority, they were sold out before I could get tickets. And I was frustrated with him and his team because I think they underrated how big he is in the UK. He should be doing arena tours in the UK, not 1,000-seater venue tours. Like, he in the UK is big enough to do a 4-show arena tour, like Manchester Arena, Wembley Arena. You can do Birmingham, you can go out to Scotland. He's good enough to do that. Right, you would agree?
I 100% agree.
Right, so that's a learning point. Saying all of that, when I saw that this was coming, I didn't want this album.
Oh, okay.
Hand on heart. Like, I saw this, I was like, my first thought was, why? Because the timing's weird. Like, he's on tour. I knew he's on tour. I was like, that's weird. It still feels very close after Wasteland, and doubly for me because Wasteland is still heavily in rotation. I still listen to it frequently. So I was almost like, obviously you'll take as much good music as you want, and when your favorite artists are releasing music, you're like, okay, cool. But I was very much anxious. I was like, I don't really want a new Brent album right now because I'm still living with the new one because it's still recent. So I was a little apprehensive when I saw that this was dropping. Then I remembered or realized that this was his first as an independent artist. So I was a little intrigued about what that would feel like and look like for him. And I think because of the rollout, I got the sense that this might be a bit rushed. So there was some apprehension on my part there too. And it was very interesting because when I went to I was doing a drive up from Milton Keynes to Manchester last night. And that was when I got the first chance to listen to the album. Was in the car. When I went to put the first song, Tim's intro, on, it was very odd because as I went to press play, my brain started thinking about the intro to Wasteland and the first song on Wasteland. So my brain wanted me to go back to Wasteland. So for the first like 2-3 songs, I had to get Wasteland out of my mind. So it was a really interesting journey to go through with this project. But it's here, and we're ready to give our first reaction to it.
Yes, sir.
So, overall, what are your general thoughts and feelings towards this project?
Overall, I don't think this is a bad music. I don't think it's Brent's best music, but I'm a fan of it. There's something that I can listen to pretty much. I can see this being something that's in rotation throughout the rest of the year. It's good. It's good, man. It's good. I don't think it's anything where it's like, wow, I can't believe Brent did this. I didn't know Brent had this in him. Although that being said, I didn't know Brent had this in him. There's a lot of music here that I've heard Brent on like some higher energy songs recently as well. Similar to you, I didn't expect this album to come. Yeah, let me go back to the beginning of this. I didn't expect this album to come. The other week, I went to Don Toliver's album. I went to Don Toliver's concert, and one of my friends who did get tickets for Brent's concert was there, and she was telling me how excited she was for that. And to then see that he was dropping this album before that concert day, I was like, wow, okay, so what's the plan here? Because this is mid-concert, as you just said, mid-tour, should I say, that you're dropping a whole new album. Are you going to now switch up the tour to incorporate both, or are you going to stick to Wasteland and then do another tour like very quickly after? What's the plan here? I don't know. Then obviously yesterday came. I said, okay, let me turn on this album. Now, similar to you, but also very different to you. You said that you turned it on, you had to get Wasteland out of your head. I turned on this album, and I can't explain it, but I can also explain it very easily. I turned on this album, I pressed play, and immediately I forgot that I was listening to Brent. So quickly. Mainly because Tim's intro, I didn't know what that meant. But the way that beat hit, and then the sample hit, the no scrub sample hit, the beat hit, I'm hearing everything in my brain is screaming, wow, Timbaland is in his bag. And I just forgot that it was Brent. Even when I looked at the album cover, nothing about the album cover screamed, oh yeah, this is a Brent project. Like, I looked at the album cover, I was like, yeah, this is a cool project. The song sounds amazing. I can't wait to hear what else is coming. And then Brent's voice kicked in, and I was like, oh yeah, I am listening to a Brent project. And a lot of this album kind of feels like that to me. A lot of this album feels like Brent stepping out of not necessarily his comfort zone, because as I said, he's shown that he can do something like this. I mean, with Bus Stop last year on Don Toliver's album from this year, not even last year, he showed me that he can easily hang on these higher energy beats. But it's more so it just didn't sound like how his other albums have sounded, how Wasteland sounded for the majority, how Fuck the World sounded for the majority. You know, he came with just a different energy, and it's distinctly different to those albums. And I think I like it. I don't like it enough to say, yeah, stay in this lane forever, because I still want not another Wasteland, but an album that's in the vein or sounds similar to a Wasteland. I still think that's where he does his best work.
I'll take Wasteland Part 2.
I'll take
Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2 is arguably better than Bad Boys 1. I'll take Wasteland 2.
I'll take an album that has a lot of the same vibe as Wasteland, but I don't mind him sprinkling in albums like this. I really don't, because again, it's just good music, man. It's really good. It's nice to hear him sounding like he's just having a lot of fun on these songs. The features came to play. There was a lot of samples. It's a sample-heavy album. It's a very sample-heavy album, begin to end. overall, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's not historically good. It's not historically great, but it's good. It's good. It's like a very, very easy listen.
I'm gonna add a qualifier because I agree with most of what you're saying. I think it's good enough. It's good enough to pass whatever theoretical test my brain wants to give it. I think it is different to a typical Brent project. Feature heavy, which typical Brent projects aren't. Like, and the range of features. What is A$AP Rocky doing on a Brent album? What is A$AP Ant doing on a Brent album? Oh no, I'm getting there. What the fuck's Missy Elliott doing on a Brent album?
Yo, for Timbaland to be the first voice I hear on a Brent album.
What?
Wild. I didn't have it on my bingo card.
I didn't have it on my 2023 bingo card. I didn't. I had a lot of things there, and that wasn't one of them. So it was different. It was different, which isn't always bad. Sometimes it's good to change up the pace, and I think it worked. There's still so many elements of what you could consider traditional or typical Brent Faiyaz on this project to keep you invested, which is good. It was just different, and so there's a little bit to get your head around there that it's different. Now it is a question of, is this the way he's going now? Like I say, this is his first as an independent, where he's running the show himself, supposedly. So is this a sign of times of where he wants his music to go? Only time will tell. But I think it's good enough to like I say, pass whatever sort of test you would want to give it. Like I said, I think there are moments where he really dipped into his traditional bag. There are moments where he very clearly stepped out. A lot more. It's his most produced album. It's his most produced album. There are times it feels a bit overproduced, to be clear, because realistically, what did the No Scrub sample achieve other than just sounding great? Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't necessary for that song. And so it's like, why did we do that, Timbaland? But that's Timbaland. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know Justin Timberlake asked a million times, why did we do that, Timbaland? And then it turned out to be a hit. Also, I meant to say this in the full podcast episode. We need to stop pretending. Look, have you been seeing, obviously, Britney's memoirs came out these past few weeks.
I did not know that, but okay.
Britney Spears' memoirs came out these past few weeks. There's been a lot of stories going around about Justin Timberlake because of their relationship in the early 2000s. And I just need to say this. And if you mind, cut this and post it so it's clear.
That's fine.
We need to stop pretending like Justin Timberlake didn't bring sexy back. Like, we need to stop pretending that didn't happen. Okay? Like, I get that there were some things that were done or said or happened in the early 2000s. First of all, it was the early 2000s. Niggas really thought the world was going to end in the year 2000. So everything from 2000 to 2002 is just people coming to terms with the fact that we're still here. You see what I'm saying? And we lived through that exact same thing in 2012. So we can't act like we don't know what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? But we need to stop pretending like that nigga didn't bring sexy back. Right? Like, he did that single-handedly. Single-handedly. Like, do you know what I mean? And so that buys you a lot of leeway for some nonsense that may have happened in your past. We have to stop pretending that didn't happen. That nigga made Future Sex Love sounds.
Oh, man. Nah, it's facts. It's facts, man. It's facts.
That's all I'm saying.
You may cry me a river, man. That's
it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, what? Like, come on. You meant rock your body, like,
bro. Oh my god.
And this isn't a Justin Timberlake episode. I just need to get it off my chest. That, like, yo, I understand Britney has her stances, and what some of that relationship was maybe a bit difficult. Now we're learning her side of that story. You have to remember that one of these two niggas brought sexy back. Now Britney has that save out. You know what I'm saying? Because Britney made toxic,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Britney made give me more.
Oh my god. Yo, Britney, the best pop star of all time.
Of all time. But we can't pretend that Justin ain't. You know what I'm saying? He paid his dues in the streets, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, AO Technology is only a passable song for one person. It's not 50. Like, that's
bro. Not Justin Bieber. Crazy. Justin Timberlake said, "Don't stand on the wall." What else do you want me to say?
Anyway.
He made Suit and Tie in the year of prom.
Let me bring it back to Brent. So yeah, it's his most produced album. A lot of samples, and a lot of samples that, like, more overt than anything, if that makes sense. So like the TL, so like the No Scrub sample is a lot more overt. The If We Make Love Tonight, Adina Howard sample, a lot more overt. There's a Pharrell sample in there. No, the Khalees sample caught out there on Best Time.
Crazy. Yep.
That was on there. A lot more overt. So I don't know if it's more samples than a traditionally on a Brent album, but they're a lot more overt. Is the way to put it. And so that was an interesting choice as well. Overall, I think it's not my favorite Brent album. It'll be tough for me to say it's the worst because I think there's some really good songs on here, some really good moments on here. It was just an interesting journey, I think, and it's good enough. It's good enough.
Is there anything specifically to you that stood out?
I think if I go song-wise, I mean, we have to go off what we were talking about last podcast, man. What do you think Coco Jones on this? On Moment of Your Life or Moment of Your Life?
Coco Jones is someone, every time I hear Coco Jones, it's like, why haven't I sat down and like really listened to an album from you, Coco? Because you're amazing. She's fantastic. She might be one of my favorites. She's low-key one of my favorites without me having done the work for her to be one of my favorites. She's fantastic, man. She is so talented. And one of these days, I'm just going to tell you that we're reviewing the Coco Jones album, in fact, just because I need to force myself to listen. I don't know why I haven't yet, but we need to get into it at some point, man. It's getting out of hand.
Definitely. I think, I really like that song. I really appreciate Brent's consistent approach to having meaningless and needless skits on his projects. I appreciate. Look, man, sometimes in the crazy topsy-turvy world we have, it's nice to have some consistency. You know what I'm saying? So his consistency and commitment to having needless and nonsensical skits to break up his projects, I always appreciate it, even if I don't necessarily appreciate the skits themselves. I thought the features were an interesting array of people. Rocky sounded good.
Rocky's been sounding good on every feature he's had on.
Rocky has been sounding good, and that's what having two kids by Rihanna will do.
Like his mental clarity at that point. I know.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like he knows exactly who he is. He's centered himself with the universe. His chakras are aligned, and he's enjoying the fruits of his labor.
No, for
real.
You
know what I'm saying? And of course, Babyface Ray, Trapper Noir.
He was a big highlight on this album.
He's amazing. It was a shock. I didn't know what features were on there, and as we were just going through and it got to that song, I was like, I know that ain't who I think that is. I know that ain't who I think that is.
Yeah,
I had to check. I saw Babyface Ray. I said, yeah, let's go. Detroit is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Best rapper Detroit has ever seen.
It was funny, innit? Because I was listening to the song, and for some reason it didn't even click to me that it was Babyface Ray. So I was just like, oh, I like this. This one sounds amazing. And then it got to ASAP. I was like, that ASAP? That's not ASAP. I checked my phone. I was like, that is ASAP. Oh my god, that was Babyface. That's crazy. Of course it was good. He sounded really, really good. He sounded really, really good. It's funny. I have to give Brent his props on this album because for as varied as the features were, and for as great as the features were, Brent never got outshone. There was no moment where it was like...
Never once. He never does.
Yeah. He does a really good job of this still feeling like Brent is inviting someone else to have their little moment on his song, but it's his song and there's no confusing it. Like, there's no world where it's like, man, this is an ASAP song now. This is Coco song now. There's none of that. This is still Brent's song. Brent is the highlight. Brent is the main feature. This is who we're here to see. But these features are also going to do their thing, and it's just going to be a great song. It's going to be a great song, great experience. I think that takes a lot of talent, man, because we've seen situations. I mean, not too long ago, a few weeks ago now, we came in here and we spoke about an album. I'm not going to bring it up. Well, I'm not going to say the name because we mentioned it too much on this podcast now. But we spoke about an album who had a lot of features, and the person on that album wasn't necessarily the main focus on any of those features, man. He got outshone on all the features, if you're asking me. So yeah, it just takes a lot of talent, man. It takes a lot of talent. I have to give him his props.
I mean, that's because the album in question that you're mentioning is right. It was made by a bumming artist. But I think, how do you think this album's gonna live? Like realistically, I asked that question to ask a follow-up question, which needs to be the prerequisite question before you answer that question. How long did that was very stupid? How long did Wasteland live? How has Wasteland lived? And thus, how long do you think this album's gonna live? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I'm so sick of your whole podcasting style. That was the most chaotic 20 seconds.
We got that though. Asked a follow-up question. That gave you the context, which provided another question which you need to answer before we get to the follow-up question. It all makes sense. I don't know why you're struggling.
He said, "Please answer part B." But before you answer part B, but next it's gonna be below. But next, you have to answer part A first, and then you can answer part B, which is that's wild.
Which is part of a larger question. Like,
now how did Wasteland live for me? Wasteland lived a long time. I can't remember when it came out. I feel like it was summer, but I could be wrong. Was it summer? Right. Yep. Yeah. It played the whole summer. That was one of those albums where every time I went to work, every time I came back from work, it played. Every time I had some downtime, it played. There was another album that came out very close to it. I believe it was 2000, if I'm not mistaken. Joe Badass 2000. I could be wrong in that. It could have also been couple weeks. Yeah, it makes sense. Both of those albums were in heavy rotation. But for the most part, Wasteland was clear, and Wasteland ended up being one of my most listened to albums at the end of last year. It was in my top 5 at the end of the year, if I remember correctly. And this year has been the album that still gets listened to. It's been a while since I've said, let me press play from the very beginning and listen all the way to the end. I'm at the stage now where I'm going to the songs that I know I love from that album. I'm going to very specific songs, and I'll still spend a lot of time listening to all my favorite songs from that album. But it's been a while since I've listened to the entire album, just because I've listened to the skits enough time now. I don't need to hear this woman telling this guy that you shouldn't have moved me out to LA if you knew that you were going to be running around, blah, blah, blah. Like, take some accountability for your actions, for real. But it's an album that I love. It lived for quite a while. This album, I don't see having the same lifespan because, as I said, that basically played for 3 months straight. Nothing else was a hit breaking rotation except for 2000. And if anything else was breaking rotation, it was breaking rotation for a week because we were reviewing it. And then every now and then I'll go back and listen to it. But that's when I had listened to Wasteland at least 3 times that day already. And it was time, let me give another album a chance to get in today. This album, I don't know. I think this album, it'll be something that I go to periodically because it's downloaded and it'll be the first thing I see when I open up my music app as one of my most recent downloads. But right now, it's competing with albums that I think are some of the better albums to drop this year, in a year where I've been waiting for albums that I can cling to. Or it's been a while since I've had an album that I can cling to this year anyway. So it's struggling. This is a very competitive time of the year, I'd say. So it may not live for as long as it could have. I think if it was a quieter part of the year, if this had dropped in the summer, I think it would have lived, because this is a very summery album. This is a very upbeat, I want to be outside type album. It's not necessarily autumn season, pumpkin latte type vibes, you know?
You don't drink pumpkin lattes.
Don't do that.
Do you drink pumpkin lattes?
I've drank a pumpkin latte.
Do you actively drink them?
No, I don't like them that much, man.
They're nasty. They're disgusting. They're terrible.
Bro, they ain't it for real. But I go to the shop when they're on sale.
Like, no, yeah, facts. I mean, you give me a coffee for $2.99 because it's on sale. Say less. Say less. I'll take that shit. No, they're terrible. They're terrible.
Oh man, but nah, yeah. I think I can see this. As I said at the beginning, I think it'll be in rotation, but I think it'll be in loose rotation. It'll be one of those where it's like I've listened to whatever album is in heavy rotation a few times, and it'll be like, oh yeah, let me listen to Brent. Brent's gonna be an easy listen right now because this is a very easy listen. This is something where, whilst if I'm actively listening, it's good, but it also makes for great background music. Great background music. It sounds beautiful in the back.
Pause.
It sounds nah, stretch.
That sounds crazy. That's crazy.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch.
That's crazy.
It's a stretch.
That just sounds. It just didn't sound right to my ears. That's what I'm telling you. That's all I'm saying. It didn't sound right to my ears. I don't know, man. I have a difficult one with this album. It's taken me a minute to get into it. 5 times I've listened to it. It's got there in the end. It has gotten me there in the end. I'm bopping my head. I'm liking what I'm hearing. And that's why I say it's just about good enough. Mm-hmm. In terms of it living, can't really see it. Definitely not to the extent that Wasteland did. Wasteland is still in rotation till tomorrow for me. Like, we may switch off this recording and I may put that. That nigga said I'm a Rolling Stone.
Man.
And bruh, like when you have a song titled the same as a Weeknd song, because both the Weeknd and Brent have songs titled Rolling Stone.
Yep.
And your song can compete against the Weeknd song of the same title, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. So yeah, I don't know if they will live like Wasteland did. But it'll be interesting to see. I think for me, more than anything from this project, what I'm taking away is I'm interested to see. It's a weird one. I'm interested to see his next move, music-wise. Now, it may take a year, that may take 2, maybe longer. But what direction are you going in? Because I don't know that I want another project in this vein. This is my feeling. Because this was good enough. I don't know that it'll be good enough 2 times over.
I think the vibe I got from this album, it reminded me.
The frequency.
I'll go for more vibranium, but it is what it is, you know.
The toxicology.
After you talk about Britney, it's callback.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're the best podcasters ever. What was I gonna say? The vibe I got from this album, it took me back to when Logic couldn't miss, and I was a big fan of every album Logic dropped, and then Logic gave me Tarantino, and at the time I thought, I don't hate it, I don't love it, it's cool, but let's get back to like the real albums. And they gave us Tarantino 2, and it was like, I didn't need Tarantino 2, but I was okay with it because it came out after another album which I liked. And I think if Brent Faiyaz has that same type of formula where he's dropping like not normal, but like standard to form albums from that he usually drops, and these are more so just fun albums that he's also going to be dropping here and there because he's working on other music and there's no label telling him, no, you can't release this, then I'm more than happy with that. I'm more than happy, especially if the quality is up to a certain standard. So
you remember 2016 Logic?
Oh, brother. Remember the first time you heard intro?
Oh,
man.
It was special.
Wow.
Remember the first time you heard City of Stars?
Oh my god. I'm gonna listen to Logic after this, man. Logic was something.
Oh my god. 2016 Logic and 2016 Post Malone.
Ooh. Man. Oh my god, I fall apart.
Oh. God. And I still think Post Malone arguably made one of his greatest songs of all time this year. But have you heard I Fall Apart? Jesus.
Man.
Jesus.
Man. All right, Paul, man. Let's go top 3. Top 3 songs from this album.
Top 3 songs.
Yes,
this is a tough one. Let me get this up. So I say at number 3, I go with Where You At. I had that one before the album came out, to be fair. So I've had that one for a minute. I liked that song before. And so it sounded good on the album, especially towards the back end to close it out. And number 2, I probably got Best Time with the Khalees sample that we mentioned. Just a short one, quick and easy. And then at number 1, Moment of Your Life featuring Coco Jones.
Fair.
Fabulous body of work. Courtney Jones, you have a fan in me. I haven't yet listened to your album, but you have a fan in me.
Facts. I'm not too dissimilar. I think number 3, I'll probably go On This Side by ASAP Ant. With ASAP Ant and
Go on, you got this. You got it. I have
faith
in you.
Give me time. You can't see my finger clicking. The fingers are working. Hold on. Cruddy Murder.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had to wait for that to scroll across. But yeah, On This Side, ASAP and Cruddy Murder. Number 2, I will go Tim's Intro. One of the biggest surprises for me this year. But man, is a highlight to what this album is going to mean to me moving forward. And I think it sums up what this album is to me in general. And then number 1, I have Best Time. It's a shame that the best time had to be the shortest time on this song, on this album, should I say? Because man, that beat is so iconic.
I told you we need to do something about this, like because this is a problem now.
It's a real issue.
It's a real issue.
This should have been at least 4 minutes long. At least 4 minutes.
He's been spending too much time with SZA, and I don't even know if he's ever met SZA. But anyway.
1 minute 20 for one of the best beats I've ever heard. Oh my God, I hate you so much right now. Do you know what that meant to my childhood? Oh my God. What a sample. What he did with the sample, crazy. Oh, man. But yeah, that's my top 3. Should we take the scales?
Let's take it to the motherfucking scales.
All right. The Two Stubborn Nigerian album rankings go as such. I hate I ever listened to this. Won't be listened to again. Whole lot of mid. Might stay in rotation for about a week. Pretty damn good. Serious project. And then either me and or Paul can give the album our 50% stamp of approval. In the case that we both give the album our 50% stamp of approval, the album will become Two Stubborn Nigerians approved. Paul, do you want to start with this one?
Might stay in rotation about a week. It's not a great album. It's not a bad album. It's just good enough. We'll see how it lives. I'm doubtful that it will live that well, just with the way the music's been going this year in general, and then my general feelings towards it. It has some highs, and I like there's some songs which are taken off here and added to my 2020s R&B playlist, so they will continue to be listened to as the years go on, definitely. But I can't say that this full project and body of work will be listened to regularly going forward. So it might stay in rotation about a week.
I struggled, man. I struggled when it came to this one. It could either be at the top of might stay in rotation for about a week, and we're thinking about it as a ladder, in that it might stay in rotation for a few weeks. But it could also be like towards the middle / lower parts of Pretty Damn Good. I think I'm going to put it at Pretty Damn Good just because it's going to stay in rotation for a while, I think. And it's a good album. It's good. It's good, man. It's pretty damn good, in fact. It's right in the middle of that category. I think it's music I can enjoy. It's music that is easy to listen to. And it was overall an experience, man. It was an experience, and an experience I want to keep on having. So, yeah, I have that pretty damn good. That is our review, our first reaction to Larger Than Life by Brent Faiyaz. If you like this type of stuff, If you like this video, then please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more stuff like this. If you really enjoyed this and you really mess with us, please feel free to subscribe to our socials. That is at 2S Nigerians on Twitter and at 2_stubborn_Nigerians on Instagram and on TikTok. If you have any albums or any type of music that you want us to get into, to listen to come and do a video for, to review it, let us know in the comment section, man. Let us know what you think we would like or what we would hate, and we will talk about it, share our opinions, and see if we agree with you or not. But yeah,